Okay, hello golfers, and I've just, as usual, one of the first people to pop up on my YouTube channel is Mr. David Lee. Good morning, David. I hope you're well, and I've got a few people coming in a little later. So I just thought I would use this opportunity to have a little bit of a celebration of my 20,000 subscribers that I achieved last Friday. In fact, it sort of snuck up on me. I didn't realize it was that close, but it's funny. I don't do these things for numbers. Numbers aren't really that important to me. If I did, I'd be doing things differently, but there's a number there to celebrate. So I'm always looking forward to celebrating. So I sort of go back to, it was the 20th of June 2014, and that's when I uploaded my first YouTube video. It wasn't the best video I've ever done. I suppose it's a little bit like looking at your wedding photos and you get dressed up and you think, geez, I look really good on that wedding photo. And then you look back 25 years later and you think, how did I wear that? So, yeah, it's funny how it all happens. David, if you're listening, I should make sure that everyone can hear me and everything's okay. So if you could let me know that the sound is okay, that you can hear what I'm saying, that would be terrific if you could. So I'm going to go ahead and as if we are okay. Everything from this end looks like it's going. So it says we've got 10 people watching. So that's exciting. If someone could just say hi in the chat, let me know that it's actually working. Or even better, tell me where you're from. Whereabouts are you watching you? Ben, thank you. So I know this is working. I'm a bit rusty on my YouTube live skills. I haven't done one since my pub trivia quiz night last year. So that was September, I think. So that's pretty ordinary. Bill, thank you very much. That's excellent. So as I said, let me know where you're watching from. The thing I love about YouTube is all of the people that are watching from all over the world. And it always amazes me where the YouTube comments come in. But as I said, the 20th of June 2014, I popped a video up for the first time, and I'm going to show you what it is now. It's a bit embarrassing when I look back on it. Hi, I'm Brian Fitzgerald. Today I'm going to talk to you about getting the most out of your golf lessons. A lot of you want to do the right thing and improve your golf, and of course one of the best ways of doing that is to actually book a lesson with one of your local golf pros. It's a great way of improving. Golf tends to be not a game that you can help yourself. What you think you're doing wrong, you tend not to be doing wrong. And quite often people go to a golf lesson with a preconceived idea of what they're doing wrong, only to find out that the golf pro tells them something different. So I'm not going to talk to you about what happens. We'll get rid of that. Let's go back into the comments and see what we're going on here. Okay, so we've got, I know David. David's from England. He's one of the regular commenters. And we've got Ben. So Ben's from Canberra. Very good. And near Lake, and then we've got Bill from Lake Macquarie. He's a famous Lake Macquarie Amateur Championship up that way. It's one of the better amateur tournaments in the country, if I remember rightly. And then we've got Amit. He's coming from New Delhi. It just blows me away where people come from. So welcome aboard. Then we've got Bill. Bill's from Burrigal near Newcastle. I haven't heard of Burrigal. I probably should have, but yeah, I haven't. So we've got David here. He started watching me probably 5 months ago. Oh, sorry, that was Mark. Sorry. Mark started watching me 5 months ago and he loves my work. Well, thank you very much. From Chain Valley Bay. Where's Chain Valley Bay? It sounds like a wonderful place. Whereabouts in the world is Chain Valley Bay?
We've got David Lee. UK's sunny. That's good. Rain showers. My back is shot, but David's doing a bit of decorating at home, so he can't play golf at the moment. We've got Mark from Northeast UK, and Mark's a regular commenter as well. And we've got John, and he's from Penkridge in England. Well, I know there's a lot of English people. I might have to get over there one day, and be funny to be able to do a golf clinic over in England. That would be hilarious. But yeah, we'll see what happens one day when I can get over there and travel. Anyway, the long journey of YouTube started. So I started it initially because I was very quiet at a new venue at Morak Public Golf Course. And I thought, gee, it'd be really good to get a few lessons. So I thought I might give this YouTube thing a try. And honestly, I was just thinking about connecting with people in the immediate suburbs around where the golf range was. And it didn't enter my head that this YouTube thing goes all over the world. And after a couple of months, I started getting comments from people all over the world. And it was fascinating. So it's just grown and grown, and it's incredible where it belongs now. So we've got a few more. Core. So Core's a regular. How are you, Core? He's a regular from Morak. Little bit, I'm no longer at Morak because the range closed down while they rebuilt it. So I'm now about 50 minutes away from where Morak is, down south on the Mornington Peninsula at a place called Bayviews. And I can say it's absolutely well named. It's just gorgeous. The views that you get from that golf course, it would be fantastic. Thank you, Mark. Yeah, I think, Mark, that's in reference to me going over to England at some stage. That would be fantastic. Yeah, I look forward to doing that at some point. It's sort of one of my little dreams to do. So you never know when it might happen. So yeah, I started on that YouTube, and it's just grown and grown. And I thought 1,000 followers or subscribers would be a really good goal. And then I reached that, and then I stopped thinking about numbers, and I was preoccupied with numbers for a long time. But in the end, I started thinking, well, I think I should just try and concentrate on giving the best value tip that I could. And I stopped watching YouTube. I don't watch other golf coaches on YouTube because I don't want to imitate them. I don't want to copy them in any way. I just like to do things my way. And the thing that I've always tried to do with YouTube, other than those first couple of videos where I was trying to copy Mark Crossfield, I've always tried to be me, and I love it when I can get someone to appear in the video, which I would like to do more of, but people are reluctant to put themselves in front of a camera. But that you see the real me. It's very much like I coach, and as you've seen, I put bad shots in there. I do hit bad shots, and what a lot of people don't realise is over the last 12 years, I've only averaged 5 rounds of golf per year. So I'll be honest, half the time I set up the video and I'm out there filming at Lang Lang or at Bayviews, and it gets to the point where I've got to start swinging, and I think, oh no, I haven't had a practice swing yet. So yeah, there are some bad shots that occur, but look, it's not about me. I don't profess to be the best ball striker these days. How can you when you only play 5 rounds a year? So I have my failings, and my goal for this year was to get to December 31 and actually not know how many games of golf that I've played. And I've got to be honest, I don't know now. So I think I've achieved that goal. So through going to my tours and things like that, it's been great. So I've certainly played a lot more. Now we've got another one come in. So Jeff Cohen from Phillip Island. And Jeff's a regular client, and he's also one of the people that have gone through my drop 4 shots in 4 weeks training program. We might ask Jeff what he thinks about that a little bit later. But yeah, so here we go. David's said something here. Heathrow Gatwick, I'll book you in. Yep, I have no idea about airports in London, where they are. I know there's 2, but I don't really know where they are. So I'll let you know. I'll keep you posted. What else have we got here? Oh, thank you, David. I think David's one of the most consistent golfers around. He plays 9 holes every single week, and he was in the sort of 48, 49, on a good day to have 46. And then over the last 3 years, and due to some of the online training that we did with our mental training program with a good friend of mine, Ashley Clinch, David was in attendance of that, and David just is so consistent now. He's sort of 43, 44, 45. A really bad day's 46. So I haven't ever given him a lesson. So it's not about changing golf swings. It's just changing the mental approach, his attitude, and really focusing on the short game. So that's what my videos do. That's what I do as a coach. I want people to shoot the best scores they can with the least amount of intervention from a golf pro that wants to change everything. So David certainly embodies all of that. Chain Valley Bay is south of Lake Macquarie. There you go. Sounds really nice. I might have to get up there and have a look. Thanks for that. We've got Jonathan Wetherall. Learned so many tips from you. The best tip so far was how to hit a fade or a draw. Okay, that's good. Using my 3 rules. You can shape the ball right to left or left to right. I'm glad you enjoyed that. We've got Kaylee Mason. Hello. Where are you from, Kaylee? See if you can pop something in the comments there. Now, I do know we've had a question come in earlier. Now, I've got to go back up here and find it. No, it's not that one. I've missed it somewhere. I'll get to it. I think it's this one. G'day, this is from Chris. So my golf is suffering as a result of getting older and stiffer. I think I can relate to that, Chris. Can you do a series on adjusting your swing and equipment to suit your game as you start to get old? That's probably a pretty good idea. So I have done a couple of sort of, not a series, I've just put a couple of little things, and I had an idea today. I was out on my bike. I'm preparing for a 100-kilometre ride in 12 weeks, so I was out doing a bit of training today, and it's funny how when I'm on my bike, I'm probably free of mind, and some of the really good ideas come in. And I was thinking about doing that because I'm not as young as I used to be either, and I've noticed there's a few changes creeping in. So I think that will probably be a really good idea, Chris. So I'm going to take a note of that one, and I'll see how we go. But as we get older, it's probably a good thing to get. We all should always get club fitted, and I'm always banging on about that. But it's especially important as you get older, and everyone assumes that you need graphite shafts as you get older, and quite often that's not the case. But you do change, your swing changes, the speed changes, your strength changes. So it is a good idea to get those sorts of things sorted out and adapt as you go. So I know I've changed shafts. In fact, my last 3 sets of golf clubs, I've had very different shafts each time. So I'm getting slow. My swing's getting slower, but that's also because I haven't been playing much, and I do have a shoulder injury. So if you ever see me hit a golf shot, you'll only notice that I get to about there in the backswing, and that's about as high as I can go because my left arm can't get up very high with his shoulder. And I could have an operation, but I'm reluctant to do it. The only thing it affects is golf, and it's not that important at the moment to hit the ball longer. I'd like to, but it's not that important. So, yeah, certainly get fitted for clubs, and I'll certainly put that down. And a lot of people just don't get through the ball. So just a little tip initially, Chris, a lot of people get stuck on that right foot if they're right-handed. And one of my favourite drills is to put a sand bucket on your right foot, and then as you swing, get that sand bucket on the right foot to sit on its base. And if you can do that, you're going to maximize your hip and leg drive through the shot. It also helps you with your timing. So that's a great drill. Great for bunkers, but it's also good for longer shots as well. So that's a little thing for you there. So I'm just going to scroll down. I think we've got a few more. Kaylee, thanks. Congratulations on the 20,000. Yeah. Thank you very much, Kaylee. It's all of the people like you that just look and subscribe, and yeah, it really is an honor to see that grow, and you put your faith in me. And initially it was only my father and my mother and my 2 kids and a couple of mates that were watching it, and then all of a sudden it sort of went to 100 views, and then it was 200 views, and yeah, it just keeps growing. So yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, Kaylee. Jonathan, I think, has a question here. He's a range hero. Okay, did you see that YouTube short I put up last week about there's a footage of a guy. I don't know what made me do this, but I put my camera out there for about half an hour just outside my teaching bay at Morak. It was about 3 years ago. And there was this guy, and he was the first guy that I focused on. He did not have a practice swing. It was amazing. If you get a chance, go and have a look. It's a classic of what not to do. But I'll get back to Jonathan's question. So I'm a range hero. On a range, once I get into a rhythm, I can hit almost everything I want, but I can't take it to the course. Any tips? Yep, you're doing it wrong. Plain and simple. I was reading an article on cycling yesterday, and it was about junk miles. So the premise of the article is just because you're out on the bike riding doesn't mean to say you're getting benefit. And that certainly applies to what I see most people doing is they're junk practicing. Just because they hit balls doesn't mean to say they're going to get any better. And as you said there, Jonathan, you can make anything work, because the problem is when you're on a range, you hit a shot and it's only another 30 seconds to a minute before you hit the next shot. So what happens is no matter how bad you swing, you get a feel for what you're doing and you get into a groove and a rhythm. So almost everyone finds they practice pretty well, but the moment you step on the course, it's a different skill set, because on the course, you get one shot and then you have to hit another shot in about 5 minutes' time. So the skill of playing golf on the golf course is you've got to recreate that feel. You've got to get that feeling back that you had on the range. The feeling stays with you. It doesn't go away. You just get into a rhythm and a timing. So what I suggest you do is not stop practicing on the range, but one of the best things you can do is put your bucket behind you. The worst thing you can do is put the bucket into that little mat where you can just rake ball after ball across. I like people to put the bucket behind them and grab one golf ball and just pick that ball, put it on the mat, and then focus on a target, whatever it is, with whatever club you've got, and then hit the shot. And after you've hit the shot, I then want you to have some reflection. And it's the reflection that's really important. You know, how did I go? Did I do what I wanted to do? What could I do better on the next one? So you have that reflection. Then you go back to the bucket, and then you get another ball, and then you put it out, and then you choose either a different club or you can use a different target. So you might hit a target down the left-hand side of the range, or you might hit the same target or in direction, but you might think, I'm just going to hit this easy and I'm going to hit a 3/4 shot. But something has to change with every shot. And if you can do that, and if you can get to the point where you're hitting a shot every 2 to 3 minutes, you will find that you're learning to recreate that feel, because the game of golf dictates that you have to do this thing right the first time you do it. On the range, you don't. You can do it 3, duff 3, hit 4. Doesn't really matter. On the course, you've got to do it right the first time, every time. So if we can change our practice habits like that, change something with every shot. But the important thing is the reflection. And this video I was talking about that I put up last week, the YouTube short, the guy just didn't reflect. He just hit, leaned back, watched it, got another ball, went through, did again. Didn't even have a practice swing. It's amazing. Didn't rehearse anything, didn't think, gee, that was a bad shot. What am I going to do differently to make this one go better? It was amazing. So that's my advice there, is just try and get used to the habit, and certainly get out on the golf course and do your practice on the course. I hope that helps a bit, but that's basically why that happens, Jonathan, because you're practicing a game that you don't play on the course. it's very different. And of course, on the golf course, you get downhill lies, uphill lies. You get ball above your feet, uneven tees. There's all sorts of other variables that come into it. So change that up as much as you possibly can. David, it's a case of WWBD. What do you reckon we get some merchandise and we'll get the WWBD? So for those of you that don't know, David basically, every time when he plays golf, he gets to his golf ball and he says WWBD. What would Brian do? So I quite like that. And in essence, David's actually caddying for himself. So when he's on the golf course, he's not just saying, oh, this is 130 metres, I'm going to hit a 7-iron. He's actually thinking about, what can I do from here? It's not just an automatic that you do this. He's thinking about it. And he's thinking, what would Brian do? Or David's caddying for himself. And I think that's a really good concept. So it's the 7 out of 10 rule that I always bang on about. If you can make the shot 7 out of 10 times, it's a good shot. If you can only make it 3 out of 10 times, it's a bad shot. Because it'll come off 3 times, but the 7 that it won't are going to cause you double bogeys, triple bogeys, quadruple bogeys, and there goes your score. Because typically, most golfers have 12 good to average holes, but the defining 6 holes is what sets the round up. If you can have 6 average holes, you have a pretty good day. If you have 4 bad ones, it's a bad day, even though you've had 12 good to average. So I think it's really important to try and choose that 7 out of 10. And if you can have the discipline to actually get out there on every shot and think, what shot can I hit from here and make it 7 out of 10 times? And if you just do that on every shot, you're going to have a much, much better score. So that's certainly worth doing. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Jonathan. That's good. Now we've got another comment here from Mark. I try to play holes I struggle with in my mind on the range, and that seems to help. I really like that. There's an Australian golf pro. His nickname is Chook. It's Peter Fowler. And there's a few stories about Peter Fowler, but I'll just say this one. He won the Australian Open back in about 1980. What would it have been? 82, 83, something like that. It was at Kingston Heath. And he got to Melbourne. He's from Sydney, and he couldn't play on the course. So what he did is he was able to use Patterson River, another golf course, about 25 minutes away from Kingston Heath. And he and his caddy were on the practice fairway, and they played every single hole at Kingston Heath on the practice fairway at Patterson River. So they would pick out where bunkers is, and the caddy would help him. And they did that every single day of practice. So he wasn't just going out there going bang, bang, bang. And believe me, Peter Fowler knows how to practice. If ever you go to a senior tournament, he will be the last person out on the range at night. He's incredible. Even at his age now, he still belts golf balls. But that's what he did. And I think there's a lot of merit in that. And I think it's great to be able to sit at home and visualize each hole. And what I like people to do is to try and visualize several alternatives. There's more than one way to play a hole. So as you visualize it, think about, what club could I use? Where do I aim? What's the best side of the fairway to hit this from? And I think you'll find if you can start doing that, it's really going to pay dividends down the track. It's really important to be able to do all of that sort of stuff. So not enough people think about the mental side and mentally preparing, and I think that's really, really important to be able to do that. Now we'll go back into the comments up here. We'll go down here, and we've got one from Jeff. So Jonathan can also focus on the process of making the shot and not on the outcome of the shot. Yeah, exactly. So it's the process, and try to do all of your thinking before you stand over the shot. So the thinking should be done when you're behind the ball and you're looking down the fairway and you're visualizing the shot. That's the best place to do your thinking. Then you basically move in, put the club behind the ball, take your setup, deep breath, and then away. So you don't really want to be doing your thinking over the ball. That's when problems start occurring, for sure. So we've got another one here from Mario. Thank you. You deserve way, way more. And Mario is, I've just connected with Mario in the last few weeks. He had a break from golf and he's come back to golf, and he's got a goal of getting down to low single figures, and he's not that far away. And I think he plays at Golf Nationale. I know that's probably not the correct pronunciation, but I did look it up on YouTube and it looks quite nice, Mario. So if I get to Italy, I'll certainly be looking you up and having a game there. So I appreciate your support there. Core, did you miss my earlier question? Wow, let me go back up here. Okay, I think I found it here. Thanks, Core. It's easy to get sidetracked here. I better have a sip of tea too. So accidentally hit a driver that sounded weird but went well. I noticed it came off the toe. I've spent the last 3 weeks trying to hit closer to the toe, and it goes so much straighter. Am I mad? Well, you know that I know you're mad, Core. Definitely. But no, you're not mad. I haven't got a driver here, but I've got an iron head. So what I want you to think of here is, if that's a bicycle wheel, let me get a pencil out here and I'll put that inside the shaft. It's too thick. Anyway, so if that's the bicycle wheel and we've got the bicycle wheel going round and round, that's the axle. So where the hosel of the club is, we'll call that the axle, and we'll call where the toe of the club is the tire. So the axle is going at a speed, but the tire is traveling faster. So if we think about the golf club, the toe of the club is traveling much faster than, so a guy called Bryson DeChambeau, he's actually working and has been working for a long time, and we all know what he's like and how he goes into topics in great depth. He's actually trying to hit his driver high in the toe, because although it's not the sweet spot, the club head is traveling faster and he gets more effective club head speed by hitting it high toe. It also does go a bit straighter because of something called gear effect, and it does go further. But if you don't get that sort of square and you do miss hit it here, it's a terrible, terrible drive. So you're not really mad at all, Core. Hitting it high toe is certainly of benefit. You will hit it further. So what you could do is you could get a piece of face tape, although you probably don't have access to that now, or Dr. Scholl's foot spray, that powder spray that you can put on the club, and you can just practice hitting a few shots and seeing where the mark is on the powder spray. And if we can certainly if you're good enough to be able to get it high toe, you're going to maximize how far you hit the ball. So I hope that helps with you. Now I've got a little thing running across, a scrolling mark going in here. So in terms of practice, I see a lot of people practicing golf, and as we discussed before, it's quite often what I would call junk practice. And I would like people to get more value from their practice, because time is a valuable resource. I know I don't have the time that I would like. So what I've done is I've devised a 4-week online training program. And it's not like what we're doing now, because this is great, but I think if you live in America, you may struggle due to different time zones to be appearing in this YouTube live session right now. So the beauty of this online training course is you can consume it whenever you would like. So think of it as Netflix. It doesn't matter what the time of day or night is, you can go in and you consume it. So it's 4 weeks. And the premise is that we can drop one shot every single week. So week 1 is putting. And I basically give you the training plan that you can use to improve your putting. It's not really, this is how you putt. It's let's just do the drills. So I've always been a believer that even if you don't change your putting stroke or your skills, if you just do the right training, you will get much, much better. And that's certainly proving to be the case, because a lot of people don't really know how to practice. So what I try and get people to do is I get them to have 4 15-minute sessions a week. So you need an hour in a week. And if you've got more, I've got 3 different levels of time, but that's the minimum requirement. And if you can do that, even without changing your swing or your stroke, you will get better. It's doing the drills that are going to give you the best bang for your buck. So that's one of the most important parts here. So I'll put a link in the bottom of it in the description there or in the comments. So if anyone's interested in doing it, and I know Jeff's been a part of it. So as I said, week 1's putting, week 2's chipping, week 3 is pitching, and week 4 is bunker shots. And in addition to that, because it's done on a piece of software that I use called Coach Now, I give everyone a swing evaluation for that week. So week 1, we do a putting swing evaluation. Week 2, chipping, then pitching, and then bunkers. So it's not just do these drills and you'll get better, although if you do, you will get better. But it's just teaching you basically how to practice correctly. And most people just don't even get close to practicing correctly. So if you'd like to join, the next one starts on Saturday, November 26th, which is a few weeks. You can click on the link and register for that. So I'm really proud of it. It's a lot of work. The first one finishes tomorrow. So there's been some good results, and I know Jeff's enjoyed himself in there. Now, I've got another message here from Core. Yes, it is tea. This is a mug one of the juniors that I used to coach at Morak did, and it is tea. It's hot. Well, it's lukewarm now. Yeah, no drinking tonight. I'll leave that one for others. Now, we've got another message here. So, Ben, what do you think hurts high handicappers more, the driver tee shot or 100 metres and into the hole? Definitely 100 metres and into the hole. There's a lot of people want to hit driver better, and it is important, and it depends how bad it is too. But being a poor driver leads to penalty shots. So you don't want too many penalty shots. They're just junk shots, really. They're just adding to your score with no gain whatsoever. So it's not about distance, and at almost every level, people are trying to hit the ball further. They think that will happen. There was a guy last year, he was at Lang Lang, and he said to me he wanted to hit the ball further. So I said, okay, let's go out on the golf course. And it was a quietish day, so we just went out on the first, and he hit the shot. So then we got to his ball, and I just picked his ball up, and I paced off another 20 metres, 20 paces. And I said, now we're going to play from here. So there's your 20 metres further. He said, oh, gee, that'd be good if I could do that. He proceeded so that put him about 120 metres out from where he was on that hole. He then pulled the shot left. He then duffed the next shot into the bunker. It took him 3 to get out, and then he was so annoyed with himself, he 3-putted. So, yeah, the drive is important, but it's getting the ball from 60 metres and in. And honestly, if everyone didn't change the golf swing, and I've always had this idea of what happened if the golfing body decided overnight that no one is allowed to make any golf swing changes whatsoever. Does that mean you can't improve? I think there's so many different ways to improve. We can improve by our thinking. We can improve by our short putting, our long putting, just eliminating 3 putts. Imagine how many shots that's going to improve you. When you hit a chip shot, make sure that the chip shot goes on the green, and you get in 2-putt, just get down in 3. All these things can really go a long way. So I think there should be a lot of focus, probably not so much from 100, but certainly from 60 metres and in. I think you're going to get a lot of bang for your buck. And I'm not saying you can't improve your driver. Yes, you can, but you'll see a lot of improvement in that area, Ben. So I would be focusing on that. What do we got here? Ben has said, I'm sure this was you. I first found when I Googled how to practice bunker shots without sand. That is me. Yes, that's the one. I've done two of those. One was years ago at Morak, and then the other one I did on my back deck during one of Melbourne's famous lockdowns. And I did invent that one. I didn't copy it from anyone. And the whole reason that happened is once upon a time, I worked for Women's Golf Victoria. So I was basically the development officer for adults. So I had to go to country Victoria and run a whole series of clinics. So about 3.5 hours from Melbourne, there's a place called Ararat, and there's a golf course there called Chalumbar. And I drove up one day and stayed overnight because they booked me in back-to-back clinics, and there's about 4 clinics of an hour and a half with a little break for lunch. And anyway, this particular day, it rained cats and dogs. It absolutely bucketed down. So rather than cancel the clinic, everyone piled into the dining room of Chalumbar, and I did what I could in the dining room. We just moved all the chairs and tables. Anyway, this one lady said to me, well, I can't get out of bunkers. Can you help me get out of a bunker? And I thought to myself, okay. And this is what I love about coaching. When you have a difficult lesson, that's when I love my job. I love it anyway, but when I'm challenged and I've got to think of something outside of the box, that's what I really enjoy. So what I did with this lady is because it was raining, I had a few towels. So I just folded the towel into quarters, put it on the ground, and I just got her to move the towel, basically. So you're hitting down into the towel and making the towel move. I had some plastic golf balls, and we put a dining table up not far from her. So effectively, the top of the dining table was the green, and I just got her in there, and within a couple of minutes, she was hitting every single one of these balls off the towel and up. And she said, "That feels like sand." So yeah, it's one that I've used for a long time. I use it myself. During our lockdown where golf was banned in Victoria, I did a few things on my back deck, and that was one of them. And it does feel quite real, especially if you fold it over a few times. So yeah, it's certainly a good one. So I'm glad you enjoyed that one, Jonathan. Let's get out here. So I put a link up before to the drop 4 shots in 4 weeks. So we'll put that there, and there's going to be people watching this because this is going to go after it's finished. We've finished the live stream. It's going to be online, so people might want to watch it and sign up for the next course. So I'll put that in there as well. Now the next one, I've got a rut into my game. My game was in good shape, but I seem resigned to playing badly on our wet courses. At least one bad shot per hole. Any tips? Yeah. So what tends to happen, John, is if we think of the golf swing, I'll try and do this slowly because the screen isn't fantastic, but that's the golf swing. It's a U shape, a bit like that, okay? So where we want to make contact with the golf ball is basically down here at the bottom of the arc. And what tends to happen to most people is in summer, their bottom, and most people, probably 80%, it's not an actual fact, but it's pretty close. 80% of people hit behind the ball slightly. It's only 20% that actually come down, strike the ball, and then go down lower and then do that. That's what everyone would like to do, but realistically, only 20% of golfers do it. 80% do this. So in summer, or when the ground is firm, you can actually, it's a bit like hitting a ball off a mat. You get a better result. That everyone knows you can hit a bad shot off a mat and it doesn't go too badly. So what tends to happen is when the ground gets a bit softer and it's really wet, you're doing exactly the same thing, but because it's wet, you don't get that little bounce and you just hit the ball fat. So I had so many people that were playing, by their own admission, quite well and striking the ball pretty well for them. And the moment the ground got soggy, they kept saying, I'm hitting the ball badly. And they kept thinking their golf swing had changed. But realistically, it wasn't the golf swing that had changed. It was the conditions. You get better and more forgiving results in summer when the ground is firmer. So one of the things that I would do to improve that, and I would do it, and not enough people do half shots. They're always out there getting the bucket of balls and they're going bang, bang, bang. I'm just going to, have I got one here? No, I haven't. So you just imagine what we got over here. I always like finding something that I can use. So imagine that this is a coin. So if that's the ball and we're going in this direction here, if you put a coin down in front of the golf ball, when you come down and hit the ball, I want you to practice hitting the ball and moving the coin. So you can do it there, or even better, just move the coin about 2 inches in front of the golf ball. And the main objective there is that when you're striking it, you're striking the ball, you're then striking the turf, and you're going to be keeping the club low enough afterwards that you're going to strike the coin. Now, if you don't want to waste too much money, it can get expensive. I quite often pull out a $2 coin, and I always say to clients, it's the best $2 I've ever spent watching you hit that shot. But you can go to a hardware store and just get some washers, or get a golf tee. Just put a golf tee on the ground. So you could, if that's a tee, you could put the tee down about there. So you're striking downwards and staying low after you hit it. But as I said, I would do that by doing some half swings. Do it with a variety of clubs. Certainly good. It's one of the pitching drills that I recommend people do. There's videos on my YouTube channel that I've done that. There's a few of them actually. So you can go and search for those. But if you can do that, that's certainly going to help your contact. And if we can improve that contact, you're going to hit better shots. So gradually work up from that half swing to a 3/4 swing. Do it with fairway woods, hybrids, wedges, 7-irons, 5-irons. Do it with any club, but start working in that half swing. Get that feeling of hitting the coin or the washer or the tee, and then gradually work your way up from there. So if you can do that, I think that is going to help you a lot. So Jeff, the drop 4-shot program gave me the structure to practice and it worked. Jeff's actually, thanks, Jeff. Unprompted, I haven't solicited in that. But and one of the things, of course, not everyone is going to drop 4 shots in 4 weeks because during one of those weeks it rained incredibly here in Melbourne, so no one really got a chance to get out and practice much. But what I want to do with everyone is give them the structure of how to practice. And so that after the program, everything stays live. You can still go in and look at it, and you can just download your training program. Think, okay, this week I'm going to really focus on my chipping, and you can go and do the chipping drills and do the structured practice that I've set out for you, and you can work on chipping. And then in a couple of weeks, you might think, I'm going to have a go at short putting this week, and you just follow the same training program. So, yeah, you want to make the most out of every minute you spend practicing. You shouldn't be practicing too long. If you can practice 15 minutes 4 days a week, you'd be amazed. If you do it and you make the best use of that time, you'll be amazed how much better you will actually get. So thank you for the Jeff. I'll have to send you the check in the mail. Now we've got another one. Sounds familiar. Okay. Yes, it was on the back deck. Okay, so you saw the one on the back deck. I think I've done 3 actually. I think I did one at Lang Lang. It was a YouTube short, and I started just out of a bunker with a towel, and then I moved into the bunker and then hit out of the bunker. So yeah, if you want to practice your bunker shots, use a towel. It's a beauty. Now David's got another one here. Most coaches try to change the golf swing, but you, like my current coach, work with what you've got and concentrate on other aspects. It works well. Yeah, it's probably a good point. Look, every golf coach is trying to help their client, and I want to help people as much as they can. But I'm about to start my 39th year of coaching. And one of the exercises I did during our COVID lockdown was I worked out how many golf lessons that I'd given, and it's well over 25,000 golf lessons in my time. Typically, people come for a lesson, and I fix pretty much everyone during the lesson, but then they go away, and then I come and I'll see them in a few weeks, and I say, "What's happened to your score?" "Oh, nothing." but you're hitting the ball well. Yeah, I'm hitting it much better, but the score doesn't change. Or if it does, they have the lesson, they have a good score or 2 good scores in a row after the lesson, and they drop 2 or 3 shots. But then over a period of weeks, it sort of goes back, and they go back to sort of, we could almost call it their safety zone. So if they have a handicap of 18, they have a lesson, they get down to 15, and then after maybe a couple of months, it drifts back out to 18 again. And I think this is all because people are just focusing on the golf swing. And as I said before, there's so many other areas that you can focus on rather than the golf swing, because people don't practice. To make a change to a motor pattern is quite difficult, and it requires a lot of time and a lot of practice and a lot of bad shots while you're practicing. Most people, after the lesson, if they go out and have a practice session and hit a few bad shots, it's straight back to the old swing. So, yeah, so I coach because it's my job, sure, but I also coach for enjoyment. And if I didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't be doing it for 38 years. I really do love what I do, and there's nothing better than hearing someone have their best score. And I know Jeff had 76 a couple of weeks ago. Best score he's had in at least 12 months. So that gave me a lot of satisfaction, knowing that we didn't change his golf swing. We just got a bit sharper in those short game shots. And if you think about who wins a golf tournament, so whoever's going to win the golf tournament this week, wherever it is in the world, it won't be the massive drive that they hit on 14 that you're going to remember. If they win, it'll be a couple of those amazing bunker shots they hit, or incredible recovery shots. You think Cam Smith in the British Open. And that in itself is a great story. And I bang on a bit, but Rory McIlroy had a 2-shot lead going into the final round. And a lot of people don't realise that Rory actually hit every single green for regulation. So he had better than that. He hit it on a par 5 for 2. So he had a putt for an eagle. He hit it on a par 4 for 1. He had 2 putts for eagle, effectively, on those 2 holes. And on the other 16, he had putts for birdie. So if you said to Rory on the final round of the British Open, Rory, you've got a 2-shot lead. We're going to give you 2 putts at an eagle, and we're going to give you 16 putts at a birdie. Would you take that round? What do you reckon he'd say? He'd jump at it. But he didn't win because Cam Smith out-short gamed him. And, Rory 2-putted every single green. He didn't have a 1-putt the whole day. He had 18 putts and shot 2 under. Not a bad score, but Cam Smith won. So it's the short game that is the great differentiator between the best players in the world, and it's the short game. If you build a solid short game, and there's no reason you can't. There's every reason you can't hit the ball as far as Bryson DeChambeau or anyone else. There's no reason you can't putt and chip well. It's just improve your technique, but do a little bit of training on it. It really does help a lot. So, that's why I think we should always spend a bit more time on that short game. Now we've got another comment here. Congrats on the 20K, Fitzy. Do different shaft stiffnesses matter? My wood are regular while my hybrid are stiff. I'm still learning how to use them. Okay, that's a great question. Don't type in this. Nice YouTube name. I'm going to say one of those shafts is wrong for you. So if you think about, and the way I like to think about shaft flexes, there are 5 different flexes that you can have. There is ladies flex or L flex. There is senior flex, which is also known as A flex. There is regular flex. There is stiff flex, and there's extra stiff flex. So there's 5 flexes. And if we think about a pole vaulter, and the pole vaulter is running down the runway, the pole vaulter jams the pole into that box, and the pole bends, and because it's jammed in that box, it's using this bend in the pole to propel them up. If there's too much bend in the pole, they don't get enough lift. If there's no bend in the pole, they don't get enough lift. So they have to have the right amount of bend in the pole for their weight and the climatic conditions of the day. So everybody needs a shaft that is going to bend correctly for them. So that's where club fitting is just so important to get it done, because you've got to match it up. Now, if you've got stiff in one and regular in the other, one of those is going to be wrong. So my best advice is, if you're fairly new to the game, maybe consider, just use what you've got for a little bit. But, certainly when you're thinking about getting a set of golf clubs, go and get them fitted from a reputable fitter, and they will then dictate. It's your swing speed that dictates the shaft flex. So you can't say, oh, this is a stiff shaft, I'm going to swing this one a bit harder so it suits me better. It's not about hard. It's about club head speed. It's nothing to do with effort. You can have someone like Ernie Els, who's known as the Big Easy, who swings his driver at 122, 123 miles an hour, but he looks like he's just going so slowly. And then you've got other people with fast swings that swing slowly. So it's matching the club head speed that you produce to the shaft that's required. So that's what I would be doing in there. So I hope that helps a bit. We've got another comment here. Thanks for all the content. Cheer at the turn. Thank you very much, Late Ice. Yeah, it really is. I have a lot of fun making the videos. Especially when the magpie got me last year. That was hilarious. I didn't see the magpie, and I'd set up to hit a driver, and I just wanted to, it was part of a video. It was sort of what we call B-roll footage, and I just needed me to hit a driver, and I didn't see the magpie. So I'm standing up there, I've hit the shot, and this magpie has come, and it's got to within that far of getting me on the head. So I captured that one on the video. That was quite funny, but you never quite know what's going on. So core, I play on the muddy course for the last 4 months and really ready to pull my hair out. Core, when I was explaining what was happening before, I think it was to Jonathan. It may not have been Jonathan. I can't remember who it was I was talking, who asked the question. I was thinking about the conversation we had. So yes, it did. So you played this weekend at dry courses and the irons went great, but over winter it was terrible. And you didn't swing the change. It wasn't the swing that changed. It was the conditions and the firmer ground that changed. So yeah, it pretty much backs up what I said. And I was channeling my inner core before. So Jeff's got another one here. Chris Riolda Golf, Brian, do you think changing golf ball will help his game? Look, not really. It depends how good you are, basically. A golf ball change can make a little bit of a difference, but it's not going to be the big differentiator. It might make 10 yards or so, but yeah, as a lot goes into golf ball. Now, while I've got that, I did have a question earlier, which I should get to. I don't think I can put it on the screen, but what I'll do is I'll read it out. So this is from Brian Wright, and he emailed this to me this afternoon. So it says, "Hi, Brian. Thanks for the opportunity of asking questions. I trust the following question is okay." It sure is. "I've always been intrigued by the policy of tour players to play with the same brand of ball type for the whole 18 holes or possibly for the 4 rounds. If this is correct, why? At tour level, they're all very good, and I'm unaware of why changing the ball type from hole to hole, soft, high spin, and so on would require this policy. Is this an outdated policy? Are you able to clarify if this is correct for tour players? Regards, Ben Wright." So that's a pretty good question, Ben. And this rule came in when I was playing. So this was back in, I can't remember exactly the year, but I'll take a guess and say it was about 86, 87 when they made this change. So what happened was there were 2 types of balls, and this is going back into the Bellata days. So the Bellata was a very soft covered, very thin, soft covered ball, and it was wound. So it was what was called a 3-piece ball. So they had a little rubber core, then they had the elastic winding, and then they had the cover. So it was a 3-piece ball, and the 3-piece balls spun an awful lot. So it's because of that, the ball spun a lot, and if you're hitting into the wind, the wind accentuates the spin. So the alternative was a 2-piece ball. So the 2-piece ball, if we did a cross section, would just have a solid core and then a cover. And if you think about Pro V1s and things like that, they're two-piece balls now. But back in the day, if you were playing a hole into the wind, you could get a ball like a Pinnacle, was the one that I used to use. And you would hit it further, noticeably further into the wind. But then if the next hole you were playing downwind, the extra spin you got from the Bellata golf ball would help stop it on the green. So that's what was happening. So golf pros would be changing balls on every single hole. They would either be using a ball to hit it further into the wind or a high spinning ball. And the governing bodies changed the rules so that you all had to finish and start with the same brand and type of ball. The number could change, obviously, but if you started with a Pro V1, you had to finish with a Pro V1. You could change it the next day, that's okay, but on every day, that's what you had to do. So there was a logical reason. Would it have really made that much difference? Who knows? But the governing bodies make all sorts of very strange rules, and a lot of non-action on other rules. So I'm not going to, that's a bit of a bee in my bonnet. I better not say too much there. But other than that, I definitely think the ball goes too far these days. That's probably where I'll stop on that. When the javelin started going too far, they didn't lengthen the javelin field because the runners were going around the field and the javelin would have hit one of the runners. So what did they do? They changed the javelin. Maybe they should do that instead of buying up all of the surrounding area around Augusta National to make the golf course longer. Anyway, that's enough for that. So next one, thank you, Brian, makes sense. Good. I'm glad of that. Now I've got another one here from Jonathan. Who is my favourite golfer not named Tiger? Let me just go that way. Don't know whether you can see it or not, but my favourite golfer, without doubt, is Seve Ballesteros. So that's a biography of Seve, which was written by a friend of mine and a client, Paul Daly, and that came out last year. And Seve was just an inspiration to me. Seve had the most amazing short game, and I was lucky enough to meet him. I was a little kid at Royal Melbourne Golf Club. He was out playing in the Australian PGA Championship, which he actually won. And there was a little temporary practice fairway on the golf course. And he was there, and I was the only one. No one knew he was there. So I'm there. He was there with his caddy. And I think I was about 14. And I just asked him a couple of questions, and he was speaking Spanglish. His English wasn't great at that point. It got a lot better as he went on. But yeah, it was terrific. So I asked a lot of questions. He gave me a tiny little tip about a specific shot, which I've never actually recorded. I probably should do that one day. Little secret. I haven't passed it on to too many people because he told me not to. But yeah, Seve was great. I still, every now and again, I'm very guilty of going onto YouTube and watching pro celebrity golf and looking at Seve. And just so sad that he was taken from us way too early. But yeah, so he was definitely, no one came close to Seve. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you for making clear, instructed videos. Thank you. I can only do it Michigan, so I've got an American here. So it must be pretty early in the morning there, Wyatt. So thanks for getting up early. Look, I can't make it complicated. I don't know any other way. I just do it the way I did it. And my golf coach was pretty simple. Alex Mercer, who coached David Graham. He coached Steve Elkington, Steve Elker, Michael Campbell. Some good names in there. Coached me. And he was very, very simple. And you only have 1.5 seconds to hit a golf ball. How many things can you think of and do in 1.5 seconds? Even, as Alex used to say, the smartest man in the world can only do one. So just focus on that one thing. So I always try and keep things really simple. And one of my favorite sort of analogies is you've got the big distiller and all sorts of stuff goes in the top, but what comes out of my mouth is the essence, and my job is to deliver the essence. So when I'm coaching someone, I might see 10 different faults, but the first thing I say is why? Why is that happening? Why is this person doing that fault? It always comes back to a reason why. And usually, honestly, it's to do with poor fundamentals. So the golf swing evolves from both good fundamentals and poor fundamentals. But if we can really sort out those fundamentals, there's no need to do these funky little moves that people have. So yeah, I just keep it as simple as I possibly can. I'll never change because I don't know another way. So there are plenty of coaches out there that are complex, and I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not knocking them in any way. That's the way they do it. Fantastic, because not everyone's going to like what I do, and I know that. But I can only do what I do that one way. So love the bunker YouTube about different clubs. Yeah, that was that was one I put out on Monday. I found some footage that I thought I'd retweak, and I put it out Monday. So you tried a variation after your pitching lesson, and he has 50 to 70 meter bunker shot he uses a pitch shot with no sand. I think that's good, cool. The less sand you take out of those bunkers, the better. So unlike a little greenside bunker, you want to take a bit of sand. But yeah, I think that there's a lot to be said for that. So yeah, I did enjoy that. And it's funny, out of all of the videos I've made on YouTube, I think that's probably one of the ones that I'm most proud of, not for any other reason. There's not a lot of information out there on how to hit longer greenside bunker shots. And I hear all these people trying to hit closer to the ball and further away from the ball to control distance. Most people can't do it. Not even golf pros can do it. So just try and change the club. And that was the video that went out on Monday. So if you not sure what we're talking about there, I'd encourage you to go and have a look. It's a good one. So Justin, another one from my little 4-week training course. What's your thoughts on using the Callaway triple stripe for putting? I'm not convinced they really help. There's two schools of thought there, Justin. There is some people love lines and some people hate lines. It's not a one size fits all. Personally, I love them. I don't use Callaway golf balls. I have a contract with the wonderful Mizuno. So this is their brand new ball. And as you can see there is nothing on there. So what I do is during one of the lockdowns is I got onto Amazon and I just seen in the drawer. I did see them out here. No, I must have put them in the car. You can actually get a little clip that goes around the ball and you can get your own colors, and it's like a stencil. You can put your own triple stripe on the golf ball. So I love them, and I do use the Callaway balls for training. You've seen me use them in a couple of videos. So I like the way you can line it up. It also gives me good feedback as to how my putting stroke is, because if you've got the three lines rolling end over end, it means you're getting the club face back to square when you hit it. So if you're starting with the balls on the lines on top, and then after about a meter or so or a yard, you see the ball wobbling a little bit, it means you've got the club face either open or closed at impact. So it's good from that point of view. But I'm a fan of lines, but one of my best mates hates them. He just wants plain and simple. So I would give it a go, see what happens, and once again, try it on the course. If it works, good. If it doesn't work, that's okay. But I think it's an advantage. I always feel like I'm giving people a bit of a head start if I don't use it. It certainly helps me to get my start line right. It's a bit of a skill, and initially, if you're not good at it and you haven't practiced it, you may find that you're going to be a bit slow. And I don't want anyone to be slower than what golf's too slow as it is. But if you practice putting the ball down, you'll get pretty quick at it, and I can usually do it in about less than 5 seconds now. So I would give it a go, but let the results on the course dictate how you feel about it. Wrong one. We've got another message here. So, Mario, what's your honest opinion on hybrids, Brian? Maybe you can split the answer for mid-high handicaps, but also for people who play under a 4 handicap. Good question. I love hybrids. I reckon hybrids have been one of the best inventions in the last 20 years for most golfers. So they make it so much easier to hit because the way they're constructed, the ball launches a little higher, a little earlier. It goes a bit straighter. It lands a bit softer, so it comes down nice and soft. So if you think about a 3-iron, if the average golfer tried to hit a 3-iron, the trajectory is going to be quite low. And if the ball actually landed on the green, there's no way that's going to stop. Whereas with a hybrid, you can hit the ball up nice and high and it lands and it stops on the green. So for most people, I think hybrids are fantastic. Having said that, I've used a hybrid for the past 6 years. And when I got my new set of golf clubs last year, I didn't get a hybrid. I got a 2-iron. I would have liked a 1, but I couldn't get one, so I got a 2-iron. And the reason being is because I'm an old-fashioned guy and I grew up using wooden drivers and playing in the wind, and I was a real shot maker. I was a pretty good ball striker when I played, and I was guilty of overtraining. But every time I tried to hit a soft hybrid or a low hybrid or tried to do something special with it, I would pull it way left. And it was embarrassing how bad some of the shots were. Yet I could never, ever do that when I hit an iron shot. So about 12 months ago, I got my new set and got a 2-iron, and I haven't looked back. So I think for the average golfer, they're fantastic. But probably for the better player, they do tend to go a bit left for most people. So it's one of those things, try them. Try the alternative. If you can find a demo day in your area where one of the golf club companies comes along, see if you can try a hybrid and pit it against a long iron from the same company and see what you think from there. So, I hope that answers that one for you, Mario. Peter, g'day, Peter. Peter from Lang Lang. How's it going? Mark, I think, has sent another one. Doggy walking time. We'll watch the rest later. Oh, thank you very much, Mark. Enjoy your walk. I got out early this morning and walked my dog, and it's getting warm here, so that was good. So thanks for watching, participating, subscribing, and all your support over the years. It's really important. Now, sorry, I'm trying to do several things at once here, and it's probably not my best shot. I'm probably sick of that. I should have taken that banner off. We'll try a different one. No, I won't try that one. We will get rid of, excuse me doing this. I'm trying to get rid of, actually, we'll try this one. Yeah, we'll do that. It's probably going to interfere with the other one now. Anyway, we'll see how that goes. We'll go back to the comments. Here we go. So Jonathan Sevi was way before my time, but caught the doco on him recently on Foxtel. Learned a lot. Yeah, incredible. It's sad that some of the kids that I coached a couple of years ago had never heard of him. He was just so charismatic, and it's very sad. So I suppose if you're asking me who I like now as players, Tiger. I'm not really a fan of Tiger the person, but Tiger the golfer, he's one of the most strategic people I know. And the fact that he probably only aimed at the flagstick 20% of the time, and everyone thinks he was a great ball striker, and he was. And he was, everyone knows he's aggressive, but he didn't aim at the flag very often. He was aggressive to his spot. Now, his spot might have been 3 flagsticks to the left, and that's where he tried to hit it. But he didn't aim at the flag unless he had a very, very short wedge in his hand. And because of that, he had a pretty simple plan. You've got to admire what he did. He was playing golf for 4 rounds, and his main task was to win over 4 rounds, not over 1 round. So his philosophy was birdie the par 5s, par the par fours with the occasional birdie and don't stuff it up on the par threes. That was pretty much his game plan. And his game plan would shoot 68, 68, 68, 68. And that was pretty much it. So he was trying to play smart golf. So I admire his discipline and that. Do I like his golf swing? Yeah. Look, can't say it's a bad golf swing. Who do I love watching? There's a Frenchman called Raphael Jacqueline. I love watching him swing a golf club. I love Louis Oosthuizen's swing. I certainly love Adam Scott's swing. But my favourite golfer is definitely Seve. Mike. So, Mike, I'll be seeing you on Friday to my full-day short game golf school down at Bayviews. So it looks like you've been doing a bit of practice early. So Mike's tried his bunker shots with a 9-iron and seemed to come out more consistent than with a sandwich. Yeah, we'll do a little bit of that on Friday, Mike. So yeah, certainly give that a go. People, just because you're in a greenside bunker doesn't mean to say you should always hit a sandwich or a lob wedge. Thank you, Peter. Videos are great. Lessons always fantastic at getting me squared away. Yeah, Peter, you're doing a great job and you've really improved over the last 6 months. I'm proud of what you're achieving. Another one from Jonathan. He's obsessed with Mo Norman. That's him in my profile pic. It's a bit small. I can't really see it. Have you ever seen him hit in person? No. I did not ever see Mo Norman. I've seen him on YouTube. He was a little quirky. He certainly, from everything I hear, he was an amazing ball striker. Will that work for everybody? No, I don't think there's one swing that will work for everybody. The thing that I always sort of hope as a golf coach, if you got 20 people that I coach and have had a lot of coaching from me on the range, I would really hope that no one would walk up and say, you've had lessons from Brian, because I'm not a method teacher. I basically find out what's wrong and I fix it. There's many different methods. Mo has a method. It works. Some people use it to great effect. I've never really studied it. I don't study methods at all. I just stick to my lane and find out what's wrong and I fix it. But yeah, a lot of people are very much Mo Norman fans. So he was a great ball striker, that's for sure. David Lee, 1-length hybrid for shots off the green, digs the ball out. Yep. So David's got his little trusty 1-length hybrid. I think he might have even cut it down a little bit from memory, but he loves that hybrid. So yep, if everyone just started chipping with a hybrid, full stop, they would lower their score. It's amazing how simple that is. Yet everyone obsesses with, I've got to chip with a sand wedge and a pitching wedge. Just get it out there with a hybrid, roll it along the ground, get it on, 2-putt, take it and run, and much, much better. Still working on my body weight movement. The sand bucket definitely helps, but I need a new approach. PD has decided to cause it. Okay, yep. I'll look forward to catching you at Lang Lang, and we can have a bit of a chat about that. I'm not there this week, but I'm back there next week. So if you're there, we can have a bit of a chat over that, and that's probably the best way of helping you, rather than me doing it here. So thanks very much for the question. David, stock copra product. He didn't shorten it, so that's fine. So there we go. So I think we've come to the end of the questions, unless someone's got another question now. That pretty much is going to wrap it up. So thank you very much for coming. I've really enjoyed getting out here and getting my YouTube live skills improved. And we'll have to do it again soon. So thank you very much for being a part. As I said, thanks for all of your support over the years. I look forward to what the future holds. I've got lots and lots of video ideas. I never, ever run out of video ideas. And I've had a good one from Chris about the senior golf series. So I'll certainly be looking into that. So take care, everyone. And thank you very much for attending. And I'll look forward to commenting with you on YouTube pretty soon. Have a good night. Have a good day.